Now at 10 and streaming on crossroadstoday.com, find out how Dow Chemical in Seadrift is taking the first step toward powering its facility with nuclear energy.
El Campo is reporting the first possible positive case of measles in that county.
And ExxonMobil's Coastal Plain project could bring thousands of jobs and millions in tax revenue. Find out which Crossroads County is on the short list.
We're going to be dealing with some very strong winds over the next couple of days. Big area of low pressure developing in the Rockies. That's a winter storm. But as far as we're concerned, it's that south wind that's going to be buffeting the area. We'll talk about it coming up in a moment.
And Victoria East and West golf teams are ready for district championship play. Tomorrow morning, we'll preview this event coming up in sports.
You're watching 25 News now at 10.
And Community Center. House Bill 4222 would allow Victoria County to impose a hotel occupancy tax of up to 2% county-wide. Most of the revenue would go toward the airport, with $100,000 set aside each year for community center improvements. This effort is separate from the city's venue tax proposal, which will be on the ballot in May. The state legislature must approve the county-wide tax before it can take effect.
New at 10, health officials are keeping a close eye on what could be the first measles case here in the Crossroads. Midcoast Health System in El Campo says an adult patient showed up at the El Campo Memorial Hospital with measles symptoms. While they're still waiting on test results from the state, they are treating it as a presumptive positive case. Health officials are reminding the community that vaccinations are the best way to stay protected. A registered sex offender in Victoria is accused of violating his probation. Curtis Huerta pleaded guilty in 2023 of indecency with a child, sexual contact involving a 13-year-old victim. Those charges were out of Goliad County. In his plea deal, he received 10 years of community supervision. But last month, Huerta turned himself in to his probation officer for violating several terms of probation, including leaving the county or state without permission, contact with minors, and being within 1,000 feet of where children commonly gather.
Nuclear power may be coming to the Crossroads with the start of a new process.
25 News Now reporter Trenton Whiting joins us now with the details on this potential new addition. Trenton.
Yes, Shawna and Dawn, Dow Chemical in Seadrift is trying to bring clean energy to power its plants. The company submitted a construction application to move to nuclear power. Dow is looking to replace its existing energy sources that are, quote, near end of life. Dow is working with nuclear company X Energy to develop plans for a small modular reactor. Approval of the construction permit could take up to 30 months before construction can begin. In February, the Seadrift City Council passed a resolution supporting nuclear advancement by the Texas legislature and Dow Chemical. If the permit is accepted by the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, construction could begin by the end of this decade or early in the next decade. We've reached out to Seadrift City Council for comment and we're waiting to hear back. Shawna, Dawn, back to you.
Thank you, Trenton. ExxonMobil is looking at Calhoun County as the possible home for its Coastal Plain project. This project is a world-scale chemical manufacturing facility to make polyethylene, which is used in many industries, including healthcare, food preservation, construction, and agriculture. The project could generate over 3,000 jobs during construction and 600 jobs once operational. Coastal Plain project manager Robert Bacon says the location decision is based on community engagement and long-term investment.
It's very important to establish ourselves in a position within the community with employees and contractors that are going to be here for the long haul.
The Coastal Plain project could also generate millions of dollars in additional tax revenue for Calhoun County and even more overall economic impact. Although Calhoun County is a place of interest, the final location for the project is expected to be decided in 2027. So this brings us to our viewer poll today. What matters the most about ExxonMobil's new project? Is it the job creation and economic benefits it can bring? Environmental and health concerns that could be a result? Or is it a balance of both? We want to hear from you. Visit crossroadstoday.com/vote to take part. And just under half of our voters believe that job creation and economic benefits are most important, and 40% say it's a balance of both.
That job creation about an hour ago was at 64%.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's dropped that much in about the last hour.
We've had lots of people voting and voicing their opinion, so please continue to do so, and thanks for voting.
Sirens sound off in Victoria to raise awareness of child abuse. For the third year in a row, Hope of South Texas started off Child Abuse Awareness Month with the sounding of horns, sirens, and bells at noon. First responders lined up in front of the Dr. Patty Dodson Public Health Center while their vehicles got loud to bring awareness. Last year, there were 1,600 reported cases of child abuse in Victoria County alone. Executive Director of Hope of South Texas Children's Advocacy Center, Megan Gumm, says awareness is the key to more children receiving the help they need.
It's signaling to those who are not feeling safe that they are not alone. They have a place where they will be protected and their voices heard. And today is representing all those who have been impacted by child abuse.
To report suspected abuse, dial 911. And for more information on the Hope of South Texas Child Advocacy Center, go online to hopecenterstx.org.
The City of Victoria wants your input on a proposed multi-use trail. The city is applying for a $1.2 million grant for the multi-use trail that would connect Guy Grant Road to the Lone Tree Creek Hike and Bike Trail. The proposed path would run through the Shenandoah neighborhood, cross Mockingbird Lane, and link up with existing trails. The city says community feedback is key to securing the grant, so they are asking residents to weigh in by May 30th. You can send comments to kconnolly@victoriatx.gov. Be sure to share where you live and how the project would impact you. Plus, if you want to learn more, you can watch video from tonight's City Council meeting on the city's website or on their YouTube channel. Well, time to check in now on our weather, and it is muggy and just sticky outside.
But how muggy would it be if there wasn't a breeze? That's my question to you, man.
True.
That's a very good observation, Don. Very good. With the breeze, the mugginess isn't quite as extensive, but get a load of this. We've already have wind advisories up for the counties, it's from Jackson County northbound into Houston. That's because this area of the coast will be getting 20 and 30 and 40 mile an hour wind gusts by the time we get to Friday. So it's going to be a wind blower, and we'll be talking more about it and what it means to you coming up in just a moment. Back to you.
Mac, thank you. Texas schools with 4-day school weeks had lower STAR scores than schools with 5-day school weeks. A Texas Education Agency study compared the STAR test scores of schools with 4-day school weeks to those with 5-day school weeks. The study shows the percentage of students at 5 days a week schools scored 6 to 8 percentage points higher in reading and 5 to 8 percentage points higher in math than students at 4 days a week campuses.
A Texas Senate panel approves a $500 million infusion for film incentives. The bill would more than double the amount of money that Texas spends to lure film and television projects, and it has the backing of Texas movie stars like Matthew McConaughey. To read this full Texas Tribune article, visit crossroadstoday.com.
Police in North Texas say several live bombs found near a popular walking trail are, in their words, now inoperative. The explosives were found by a citizen who noticed an open suitcase and several suspicious items scattered in the area. Each bomb was about 100 yards from a popular walking trail in Garland. Local police called in their bomb unit along with technicians from the FBI, and the explosives were eventually deactivated. Authorities cleared the area but are still trying to determine who may have been responsible for the explosives. Controversy over a proposed Muslim community in North Texas tonight. It's proposed for an unincorporated part of Collin County near the town of Josephine.
Several state investigations have been launched into the project and the Plano Mosque that it's tied to. Amelia Magavero takes us inside a public meeting today where dozens spoke out.
Transparency, accountability, and respect for the rule of law. Epic City fails on all three. A 4.5-hour meeting at Collin County Commissioner's Court, giving North Texans their first chance to share their comments on Epic City, a proposed Muslim community that includes 1,000 homes, a mosque, a community college, and more, all across 400 acres near Josephine. But many of the speakers opposing the plan.
This is not about Islam. It's about Sharia law.
To allow a new group to claim and execute a 400-acre segregated city is the height of insanity.
Some showing support.
These individuals deserve fair treatment and real representation. We must advocate for an inclusive Texas.
Monday's meeting comes after the state launched 5 different investigations into Epic City, as well as the East Plano Islamic Center, which is heading the project. The latest investigation announced Monday by Governor Abbott, saying he has directed the Texas Rangers to investigate Epic and any affiliated entities for potential criminal activities.
So I think this is just adding more fuel to the fire, and I'm not happy about that.
Representative Salman Bajani is the first Muslim elected official in Texas and says this is a violation of religious freedom.
I'm a real estate attorney. I know a lot of developments in North Texas exactly mimic this. There's nothing illegal about that. If they want to do that, like I said, this is something that we should be protecting in the state of Texas, not demonizing.
Epic representatives also sharing their side, assuring county leaders their plan is open to anyone and will follow local, state, and federal law.
The idea for Epic City came from the idea of building a master plan neighborhood that would be for all generations.
Commissioners also sharing their concerns, making the future of the project even more uncertain.
This is not about building a place of worship or attending a place of worship. This is about the vision of building a housing development that would limit access and control housing opportunities.
Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell to receive alerts. Stay with us. Coming up on 25 News Now at 10, President Trump is expected to unveil his new tariff plan. Why critics say, quote unquote, Liberation Day could cost you more at the checkout.
Also ahead, billions in public health funding is on the line. Now nearly 24 states are taking the Trump administration to court. Businesses and U.S. trade partners feeling a little anxious tonight. The White House says President Trump will hold an event on Wednesday afternoon where it's expected he will announce plans for reciprocal or potentially universal tariffs.
On top of the much anticipated Wednesday announcement, Thursday is also expected to be an impactful day for the economy as Trump's 25% tariffs on imported vehicles are set to take effect. Sherelle Hubbard has more on what it could mean for you.
The full details are not yet firm, but Republican Speaker of the House Mike Johnson is already encouraging Americans to trust the process.
you have to trust the president's instincts on the economy, okay?
The White House says President Trump is spending Tuesday perfecting his tariff plan.
Perfecting it to make sure this is a perfect deal for the American people and the American worker.
A Rose Garden announcement is scheduled for 4 p.m. Wednesday, when he's expected to announce reciprocal and other tariffs, a day Trump is calling Liberation Day. Political opponents are already taking aim.
Prices are up. Stock market's down, the risk of recession is climbing, consumer confidence is in the gutter, 401k plans are losing value. Are you better off than you were 72 days ago under this president's leadership, on the verge of his so-called Liberation Day that's going to drive prices up even more?
Some economists predict that tariffs will lead to higher prices for U.S. consumers.
They're going to retaliate with, in Europe we already know, whiskey and jeans and Harleys, and the American farmer is going to be in the crosshairs around the globe.
The White House has dubbed Wednesday's announcement event Make America Wealthy Again.
We are focused on restoring the golden age of America.
I'm Sherelle Hubbard reporting.
Democratic attorneys general from 23 states and D.C. are suing the Trump administration over a $12 billion rollback in public health funding. They argue the cuts are unlawful and could shut down key health services and cost thousands of jobs. The lawsuit aims to stop the funding cuts immediately, citing major impacts on state and community health programs.
Scientists have created a device that translates thoughts into speech in real time, offering hope for those who cannot speak. In a new study, doctors implanted it in a woman with quadriplegia who lost her voice 18 years ago. Unlike other brain-computer interfaces, this one minimizes delays, making conversations feel more natural. Researchers in California trained an AI to turn her brain activity into speech using her pre-injury voice. While this is very experimental still, this breakthrough could be life-changing for many.
That is amazing. That really is amazing. Staying up to date on your cancer screenings is critical. New research shows that early detection when cancer is most treatable offers the best chance for survival.
With more, here's ABC's Melissa Adon.
A new study in JAMA Oncology found that regular cancer screenings could prevent up to 80% of cancer deaths. Researchers examined 5 types of cancer: breast, cervical, colorectal, lung, and prostate, all of which have reliable screening tools like mammograms and colonoscopies. These screenings are designed to find cancer early, often before symptoms appear. Your risk may be higher if you have a family history of cancer or certain lifestyle factors, so your screening schedule may need to be adjusted. Talk to your doctor about a plan that works best for you. The American Cancer Society also recommends simple steps to lower your cancer risk. Avoid tobacco, limit alcohol, protect your skin, stay physically active, and eat a diet rich in fruits and vegetables. With this Medical Minute, I'm Melissa Adon.
Well, good evening, everybody. We're looking at 74 degrees right about now. The winds are sustained at 18, but they were gusting up to 25 today. And the problem is, in the next couple of days, they'll be gusting up to 30 and 40 miles an hour. So it's going to be rather blustery for the next couple of days. We managed to get up to 83 today. 67 was our overnight low. We'll be on the warm side this week, but things may look a little better next week. We'll talk about that coming up in a moment.
Get ready for the madness. Think you know college hoops? Prove it. Enter the Final Four frenzy presented by Coastal Bend College. Put your bracket up against sports director Max Williams and weekend sports reporter Ray Robinson. Dribble on over to crossroadstoday.com to enter on the contest page. Win it all and score a family 4-pack with a hotel stay and a round of golf for 2 at Moody Gardens in Galveston. The Final Four frenzy presented by Coastal Bend College. Brackets lock soon. Enter now.
Well, good evening, everybody. We already have a wind advisory for portions of the crossroads. There's Victoria, there's Edna. So everybody this direction toward Houston is already under the advisory because winds are going to be picking up and getting stronger. Today they picked up a little bit. They'll be a little stronger tomorrow, and Friday is really going to be a howling kind of event. Now already even in North Texas they have wind advisories as well as the storm really starts to gather in the Central Plains. You notice how all the winds are flowing from the Gulf all the way into this area of low pressure. This is the beginning of the storm. This is basically low pressure dropping. So everything flows into this thing, and then it flows vertically up into the upper atmosphere. You can see how the wind's coming around in this direction. That's the dry air here. That's the dry line, and this is the Gulf air here. And on the north of it, well, guess what? They got snow. As a matter of fact, while we're dealing with, hot and steamy weather, there could be some winter in Texas this weekend. I'll get to that in a moment. This is today. Of course, there were some storms up in Oklahoma. They have settled down, fortunately. And this is tomorrow. And you can see how basically from Abilene through Dallas, Texarkana, and all the way up into the Mississippi Valley, they have a potential to get some severe weather. We're talking tornadoes. We're talking springtime hail and all that good stuff. And so we'll watch and wait. But for us, it's generally wind. You can see how the winds are fairly strong here early on Wednesday. They'll strengthen up during the day, picking up to about 25, maybe 30 miles an hour. It actually gets a little stronger later on Friday. High temperatures pushing the upper 80s right on through Saturday. And then what happens? Boom, 68 on Sunday. Shall we get our sweaters? For about 2 days, we'll get a little bit of a cooling trend. We'll show you that in the 7-day. Here's the future tracker, and this is the stormy weather. What's going to happen is the cold air rolls out, and then it runs into the humid air, and there's going to be a line of storms that goes all the way down into Texas. There it is by the time we get to Wednesday. And again, on the weekend, that's actually a stronger front that will move through our area and give us a change of temperatures. Yes, in fact, it's going to look pretty good. For tomorrow, we'll be looking at 74 in the morning, 84 in the afternoon in the Port Lavaca area. And of course, it's the wind that'll be picking up. These are the sustained numbers. You can add 10 miles an hour on top of that for your gusts. So also in Cuero, you'll be at 15, 20 miles an hour, gusting up to about 25, maybe 30. Gets a little stronger as we get closer to the weekend. Here's what we're talking about. 20% chance of a sprinkle possible tomorrow. Otherwise, rather warm. And then right here, there it is, Friday. On Friday is when we expect the winds to be at its worst. So that's 25 to 35, possibly even 40-mile-an-hour winds. So if you have outdoor business, or if you're driving a Winnebago or, well, a high-profile vehicle, just make sure you know where the wind is blowing. Saturday is the front. It comes through in the middle of the day. A slight chance of a shower or two, but yep, there it is. Look, cooler weather for early next week. So from one season to another, all in a matter of 7 days. That's your forecast. Thanks for joining us, and reminding everybody we do have a QR code that will scan that, and you can put Crossroads Today on your phone. And now to the only guy I know that has tickets to the Final Four. Here's Max.
Yeah, guaranteed right now there, Mac. And again, after the break, though, we're going to talk about how El Campo women's soccer and men's soccer did tonight. Will they reach the state semifinals? Find out in a few minutes here in sports. All right, Crossels. In a couple days, I'll be in San Antonio and see if a couple teams can try to punch their ticket to the national championship there on Monday night. But what about here tonight? We had a couple teams see if they can punch their ticket to the state semifinals for both El Campo women's and men's soccer teams. Starting with El Campo women's soccer, they face the Lorena Leopards tonight at Bastrop. And guess what? El Campo, they got the win there 1-0, surviving there over Lorena there in Bastrop. Madison Ganoa, senior, got the winning goal there for El Campo, and they will be facing the Wimberley Texans in the state semifinals as they beat London there tonight. The London Pirates, they're 6-0, so congrats there for the women's soccer team. Now, how about the men's soccer team? They faced Needville Blue Jays in Sugar Land. This game ended up being 3-3 at the end of regulation. It would go to penalty kicks. They still were tied at 3-3, but guess what? So they went to sudden death, and Needville would get the job done. They would win this game 1-0. So the women's team gets to go on to state semifinal. For the men, fortunately, their season comes to a close there in the regional finals. Now over to some softball action. We had top-ranked Hallettsville Lady Bramos travel to face the Edna Cowgirls, and this game was controlled by Hallettsville from the jump. They got some big bats there from Taylor Yeats, as you just saw right there, and also Addison Grace Halazza took control as they won this game 18-1. We'll be back in action versus Columbus there this Friday night. Now over to Ganado. They faced Louise Hornets tonight, and also they took care of business as well, won 17-0. So again, Ganado there for the maidens. They're going to travel to Schulenburg there this Friday night. How about over to some more softball action with the St. Joseph Lady Flyers, who played back-to-back games there and faced St. Mary's Hall. And guess what? Same thing. Teams that are taking care of business, that are on the top of the top, are taking care of it because they won their 12-0. Star pitcher Shane Meismer, again, dominant up there at the circle, only allowing one hit and striking out 11. And Valerie Varela got 3 for 4 there up there at the plate. And again, they're back in action there versus St. Anthony at home. It'll also be future Flyer night as well, so go out there to the Field of Dreams. Now over to track and field, where the Shiner Comanches revealed who's going to advance to the area track and field there next week. For the Lady Comanches, they faced second there in the entire meet as a team, and they won the 4x100 meter relay bronze medal, also in the 4x400 meter relay, and got fourth there in the 4x200 meter relay. Some individual awards out there. Jemiah Wright scored 31 points there for the Lady Comanches, and Jalea Curtis and Brinley Ramirez helped score points as well in the running department. And also former athlete of the week and softball player Kaylee Bedeker got second place in shot put and discus. So that's all there for the Lady Comanches. For the boys, they were district champs. They won the 4x100, 4x400 meter relays, and got bronze in the 4x200 meter relays. And Bo Bam and Tyler Harvey led the scoring there for the Comanches. Also Quincy Jones, and newcomer of the year for football, if you remember, and Jarvis Williams placed third place there in triple jump. So all these track stars I mentioned will be in the area around there next week. And finally tonight, tomorrow morning, we'll have 45 athletes here from the VISD competing in the District 5A Region Championships at Colony Creek Golf Course. And again, first we'll tee off at 8:30 a.m. and they will go all the way probably to around noon to 1 range. And some of the girls to keep an eye on there for both East and West. There are Jade McIntosh for East, and then also for East, Lexi Morris is one to keep an eye on. Then for West, Phoenix Sauceda is one to keep an eye on as well. For the boys, there Jonas Roth and David Villegas, again, 2 guys to watch out there as well for West. And also Tough Bretts from East are going to be guys to keep an eye on. See, they're in the district championship. So I'll be there tomorrow. I'll highlight all these athletes and we'll get some interviews and a story for them there on tomorrow's newscast. That's going to do it here in sports. Don and Shawna, back to you.
Max, thank you, and stay with us. Coming up on 25 News now at 10. We'll take a last look at your weather. Plus, no drama, just llama. The world's oldest camper celebrates a big milestone with a heartwarming legacy.
Stay up, I'll make you a bracelet. I intentionally didn't watch the finale before you came out, even though I could have. I was telling the audience how unselfish an act that was. And
That's incredible. Can we have a round of applause for Jimmy?
A rare red diamond is on display at the Smithsonian's National Museum of Natural History. The 2.33 carat gem is part of the Winston Red Diamond collection and is a 1 in 25 million find. Visitors can also check out 40 other colorful diamonds in shades from teal to pink. The collection, gifted by Ronald Winston, is showcased alongside another famous Winston family gem, the Hope Diamond. I had no idea there were so many colors.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Beatles. 4 separate feature-length biopics are set to chronicle the story of the Beatles from each band member's point of view. And the casting of the 4 musicians has now been confirmed. Sony Pictures Entertainment reports Baby Girl's Harris Dickinson will play John Lennon. Paul Mescal from Gladiator 2 will be cast as Paul McCartney.
Really?
Barry Keoghan from the Banshees of Inisherin will portray Ringo Starr. And Stranger Things, Joseph Quinn will play George Harrison. Oscar-winning director Sam Mendes is set to direct The Beatles, a 4-film cinematic event. That's what it's called. This is the first time the Beatles have ever given their okay. I should say the 2 living Beatles and, of course, the widows of John Lennon and George Harrison. First time ever they have given the okay for this. The first movie will be about Ringo.
So it's 4 movies in a row.
Yes.
Not at the same time.
Right.
But all from different, their individual perspectives.
Okay.
Yeah.
I look forward to that.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting.
Wonder who goes first. That's going to be interesting.
Ringo. Yeah.
Ringo's
Yes.
first. All right. Terrific. Well, folks, the next couple of days are going to be very warm and very windy. In fact, the afternoon winds will be in the 25, 35 mile an hour range. I mean, you know, just hold on to your cowboy hats, because on Friday we could see 40 mile an hour wind gusts. Little front brings us some cooler weather for the early part of next week. So we go from near 90 degrees to 70 degrees in a matter of 7 days. So stay tuned.
Well, a unique camper at Victory Junction in North Carolina just hit a major milestone, 120 years in human years. Meet White Top, the world's oldest llama in captivity at 27. After a showbiz career, he has spent nearly 20 years at this camp helping kids with chronic illnesses through therapy programs. Staff say his secret to longevity, a calm nature, a love for the campers, and unlike most llamas, never spitting.
Oh.
Yes. Thanks for joining us.
Jimmy Kimmel Live starts